The DATEDIF function will calculate the number of days, months or years between two dates and return that as a number result for you. To use the DATEDIF function, we need a start date and end date, and then we will select the unit type we want the DATEDIF function to calculate. There are 6 unit types available, which you can see in the list in front of you now. I'm going to show you examples of all 6, so I won't read through the list, but if you want to read the list, simply pause the video before continuing. Okay, so I've put some dates into these examples for you already just to save some time. Starting with the days calculation, then we're going to calculate how many days between the 1st of January 2013 and the 31st of January 2013. As with any function in Excel, we start by using the equals symbol, and then we'll type DATEDIF, open parentheses, and the first criteria is the start date, so we're going to select B2 in this instance, which is the 1st of January, comma, B3 for the end date, comma, and then the unit, we always put units with double quotations. So because we want to calculate the days, we need to use D, so we'll do double quotation D, double quotation, close parentheses, and hit enter. And as you can see, we've got a result of 30. Now some of you may be wondering, why 30? There's 31 days from the 1st to the 31st. Well, it actually calculates the number of completed days, and the end date used in any DATEDIF function isn't included. So this function is actually counting from the 1st to the 30th, and it's saying there's 30 completed days. So it's just something to bear in mind when you're using the DATEDIF function. So that's how we calculate days. Moving on to the months then, we will calculate how many months there are between the 1st of January 2013 and the 31st of December 2013. So exactly the same as we did with the days, it's equals DATEDIF, open parentheses, select the start date, comma, end date, comma, and now we're going to do months, so we'll type M, close parentheses, hit enter, and we've got 11. Again, it's calculating the completed months, so 11 is correct because obviously 31st of December is not means December is not completed. If it was the 1st of January 2014, then we would have 12 because there would be 12 completed months between the 1st of January to the 1st of January 2014. But in this instance, it's 11 completed months. Okay, so for years, exactly the same again. It's equals DATEDIF, open parentheses, select the start date, comma, end date, comma, and this time we're going to put Y for years, close parentheses, hit enter, and it's come up with 0 because from the 1st of January 2013 to the 31st of December 2013, there's obviously no completed calendar years. If I change the end date to the 1st of January 2014, hit enter, there you go, it's now 1. We've got 1 completed calendar year between them two dates. So that's the basic 3 units when using DATEDIF. As I mentioned, there are 3 additional ones which I will show you now. The first one is YD. If I just jump back across to the descriptions, you'll see YD calculates the number of days ignoring the years. So if I just do equals DATEDIF, start date, end date, I'm just going to do D here, just normal days, just to show you. So between the 1st of January 2013 and the 31st of December 2014, there's 729 days. But if we now do YD, hit enter, we get 364. Because Excel is basically calculating the number of days from the 1st of January to the 31st of December. It doesn't care about the years, it's just going from 1st of January straight to 31st of December. Doesn't matter if I put 2010 in here, it's still the same because the year is irrelevant. So that's the YD units. YM, if we jump back, YM calculates the number of months ignoring the days and the years. So we'll do equals DATEDIF, start date, end date, and YM. Hit enter, and again we get 11 because there's 11 completed months between January and December. Again, it doesn't matter about the years are ignored in this instance because we're using YM. If I was to change this, double click on it and put it to month only, we would get 23 because it does take the year into account as well. So I'll just change that back. And then finally we've got MD, which if we jump over, MD calculates the number of days ignoring the months and the years. So equals DATEDIF start date, end date, MD, hit enter, and we get 30 because there is 30 completed days between the 1st and the 31st. The months and the years in this example are irrelevant, so it's only calculating the actual days between the two dates. So if I change this to say the 25th of June, 24 days between the 25th and the 1st. Again, remember 24 because the end date is not included. As with any of the other examples, the end date is not included in the final result. The only other thing to be aware of when using the DATEDIF function is that the start date must always come before the end date. So for example, let's go back to days here. If I was to put 31st of January 2013 and then end date as the 1st of January 2013, we're going to get an error, and that's because the dates need to be that the start date is always before the end date, otherwise it can't calculate because it would be a negative number otherwise. So that's just something to bear in mind, and that's the DATEDIF function.